Okay, today is a perfect day. It's Sunday. It's Buddhist holiday as well. It's a perfect day to study Dhamma. So wherever you are, in Thailand, in overseas, please get yourself excited about this 13 weeks journey of learning and study Dhamma together. Because for me, as a Buddhist monk, I feel very grateful and great opportunities for myself to be among myself, to be a part of the Triple Gems, and have an opportunity to access to the authentic teaching of the Buddha which keep in the Buddhist text. The main job as the monks or the nun is to study the teaching, practice the teaching, and perhaps to contribute the teaching to the world around us. And that's what our main duty is. There are so many teachings of the Buddha that kept in the Buddhist text. The Buddhist text is called Tipitaka in case you are new. Don't worry too much about the Pali terms. You're going to come across this term more often as we go along the class. The Tipitaka is the sacred text that contains the teaching of the Buddha. So we call the Pali canon. And it is said it contains 84,000 teachings of the Buddha. And that's a lot of teaching, which can be divided into three baskets. Ti or Trai mean three. Pitaka mean basket. So three baskets. The first basket is called the Vinaya, the one that you learn in the first lecture. It's the Vinaya Pitaka, contains 21,000 teaching. The second basket is called the Sutta Pitaka. Again, it contains another 21,000 teaching. And the last basket we call Abhidhamma Pitaka, which contains a lot of information. It says it contains 42,000 teaching of the Buddha in this one basket. So altogether, 84,000 teaching. If you will spend your whole life try to learn, try to study, try to understand the teaching of the Buddha by yourself without having the right structure, you might get lost along the way and you might get demotivated and perhaps give up the learnings because it's too many information and too confusing. So my class in this Dhamma subject will be focused on this basket, the Sutta Pitaka. The Dhamma elementary level, Dhamma intermediate level, and the Dhamma in advanced level will focus on this one, this basket only. We will explore this basket together by following the structure that laid out by the senior monks of Thailand who come up with this curriculum or the Nakdhamma curriculums. Elementary, we learn this much. Intermediate, we learn this much. And advanced, we learn this much. If you stick around all the way from elementary to advanced, you will be learning pretty much almost all the teaching that kept in the Dhamma Pitaka. The most important one. Start from something simple that we will learn today all the way to something advanced. We're talking about the precept, the dana, the meditation, all the way up to Nirodha, Nibbana, to liberations. There are many advanced teaching that waiting for all students along this journey. So we will, support each other. Please make sure that you get yourself ready, get yourself motivated. And to me, again, I feel very precious. I feel very grateful for this opportunity because the teaching of the Buddha, like I said, after the Buddha passed away, this is the only place, the closest place where we can get to his authentic teaching. Somehow it kept in this Buddhist text in Pali. And fortunately now this Pali scripture has been translated in many languages, including English, Chinese, Thai. So if you can read Chinese, you can read Thai, you can go ahead and open up the text and to see how you feel and to see what the Buddha wants to teach you. That's my recommendation for you. In this Dhamma subject of the elementary level, we will explore the Dhamma utilize this structure. The structure of the Dhamma elementary level will be stick with this manner. We will explore the Dhamma into according to the group of 2, of 3, of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Today we will start the first one, the group of 2 of Pali called Dukkha. Dukkha. Not the Dukkha, that the Four Noble Truth. Okay? Dukkha is mean 2, number 2. Tikka mean 3, Chatukka mean 4, Panchaka mean 5, Chakka mean 6, all the way to Tasaka mean 10. That's the Pali terms. As I continue the lecture, I will perhaps introduce you to some of the Pali term as well, because I think it's necessary to at least hear them out. You may not understand them, it's okay, because to study the text is unavoidable. Whether you study in Chinese, in English, you're gonna come across this term later on. But I will not emphasize the Pali in the exams, so don't worry too much. Okay, but just hear it out, just get yourself familiar with the term. It's better for us as serious Dhamma students. You must familiar with the Pali term that used in the text, because the text keeps everything in Pali. The teaching of the Buddha are kept in Pali. That's why it's always beneficial for us to familiar with the Pali terms, such as dukkha, the Four Noble Truths, right? Dukkha, samudaya, nirodha, and makkha, and we familiar with that. But they are not just this; they are more than this. Why should we study Dhamma? Simple question. Why should one study Dhamma? So whether we are a lay person or a Buddhist monk, the Buddha point us to the ultimate goal of life, and that's something called Nibbana, the ultimate peace. And to realize Nibbana is not easy. One must educate oneself, right? Nibbana is not just all of a sudden fall from the sky and we can achieve that or attain that. Suffering or dukkha, happiness or sukha, they come with cost. They not just all of a sudden arise by themselves. Everything comes with cost and condition. That's the teaching of the Buddha. For us to be happy, we need to educate ourselves. For the lay people, their happiness may be involved in the acquiring material thing, right? Money, fame, possession, family, relationship, success, education. This level of happiness we call happiness that comes from sense pleasure. Sense pleasure. To see, to hear, to smell, to taste, to touch something that we want or we like. If we feel happy, we want more of that. And that's the first level of happiness, which most of human beings in this world, we are trapped into this level of happiness. But when someone become a monk, they're looking for a refined form of happiness, the happiness that not come from material things. In other words, the happiness that not come from something outside, is come from inside, come from meditation, come from seclusion, come from study Dhamma, come from a peace of mind. The two level of happiness. And hopefully one day we can get to the ultimate form of happiness or ultimate level of happiness, which is Nibbana. But as someone walk down this path, happiness is both means and ends of the journeys. It's not just you have to get there to be happy. No. That if you apply the Dhamma correctly and properly to yourself, whether you are a monk or lay person, you can be happy at this very moment, here and now. The lay people observe 5 precepts, sometimes 8 precepts. For the nun, 10 precepts, right? For the Samanen, 10 precepts. For the nun, 8 precepts as well. For the Buddhist monk, 200. There are precepts that involve. So the Buddha gives us the frameworks. In order for us to be happy, whether you are among all the lay people, the first step is to observe precept. He gives us this framework. All of 84,000 teaching can group into 3 headings. The first heading is called Sila, or precept, moralities. Second heading is called the Citta, or the developments of the mind. Sometimes we call Samadhi, because Samadhi is the most outstanding form to develop the quality of the mind. And the third one is called Panya, or develop wisdom. If we master this, master precept, master the mind, and master the Panya or wisdom, we will one day realize Nibbana. Even though we may not realize Nibbana now, this life or next life, but we will be able to be happy on a day-to-day basis. And that's why we should study Dhamma. The Buddha once said, Dhammachari sukhang seti, asaming loke param hija, which means one who lives by Dhamma sleeps happily both in this world and the next. Both in this world and the next. That means not only in this life, if someone practice the Dhamma, study the Dhamma, put the Dhamma into practice, not just study, okay? Some people study a lot of Dhamma, but still suffering. If something is wrong in their practice, maybe they're not complete in the whole frameworks of the Dhamma practice suggested by the Buddha. Pariyatti, or the theory, is just for us to know what it is. And then once we know what it is, fully understand inside out, then the second job is to put them into practice. It's called patipatti. And it's not just that. Not just know, not just practice. One must realize the Dhamma by oneself. It's called pativetha. There are three levels. The three levels of study Dhamma. That's why Dhamma is deep. It's not just, oh, I know what 5 precepts means. I know I can observe 5 precepts. It's not just that. You must have the direct experience of the Dhamma that you practice. Why observing precept is good. If you don't observe precept, you don't know why it's good. And what's the difference between 5 precepts and 8 precepts? You must observe precept yourself. Then you know the difference. Which one gives you more happiness? Which one gives you more peace of mind? Which one, when you observe that precept, help you to meditate better? That's the idea of study Dhamma. Okay, and that is why one should study Dhamma if you want to be happy. Monk also wants to be happy. That's why people become a monk, because, like I said, our happiness is more refined than the lay people. We don't ordain because we want more material thing in life, more famous, more money, more those material things. No, but we're looking for something deeper than that, more refined than that. When we close our eye, hopefully we can still the mind and attain the inner happiness inside ourselves much faster and much longer than the lay people. Something like this. Okay? And another reason why one should study Dhamma, because as a Buddhist monk, Buddhist lay people, we have responsibilities. We owe the Buddha so much, and we don't even know how to repay him back. So what we can do, number one, the Dhamma is difficult to find, right? We have to have the Buddha exist first, then the Buddha reveal the Dhamma to us. And now the Buddha is gone, he is no longer with us. Fortunately, the teaching is still available in the Buddhist text. If someone start to study the teaching, that's a good sign that Buddhism will last, continue to last. By coming here to this class, joining this program, we help to prolong the life of Buddhism, the life of the teaching of the Buddha, by get back to his teaching. And then once we comfortable with the Dhamma, the teaching of the Buddha, we put into practice. We're not just here to learn and pass the exam. Not just that. Exam is just the test, just to evaluate that, okay, you understand what you learn, that's all. Your job is to know what it is and know how to put the Dhamma that you learn into practice. And the third duty or responsibility is to, perhaps one day you can spread the teaching of the Buddha to your life circle, to people in your family. If your husband, your children, your wife still don't know what precepts are, don't even observe the precept, maybe you can introduce them to observe precept. Maybe you can introduce them to start to practice the giving or the dana, or perhaps one day can teach them how to practice meditation. And then go wider, go to your workplace, go to your communities, go to wherever you go in this world. You become the light of peace, you become the light of the wisdom on behalf of Buddhism to share the teaching of the Buddha. And number 4, if Buddhism is in danger, it's our job to protect and preserve the teaching of the Buddha with our life, because it's rare for the Buddha to be happening, it's rare for the Dhamma to be happening. The Buddha passed away 2500 years ago because someone has been study and practice the Dhamma, and they also have been working hard in terms of propagate the teaching of the Buddha. That's why today the teaching of the Buddha is still alive and come to us in this 21st century. If people back then feel like, okay, I just want to study and I practice on myself and I don't do all of this, 3 and 4. I don't want to teach, I don't want to protect, I don't want to anything. I'm just want to focus on my study and practice meditation. Then there would be no Dhamma go to the future generation. So we are, I don't know, myself, I feel obligated to study and to share. Okay, to share mean we share what we know. The Dhamma belong to the Buddha. He discovered, he shared with us. We go learn what he teach, and now we share. We may not understand everything that he teach, but we share as we understand, and as we share, we learn as well. Okay, my job not only as an instructor, I myself I consider myself as a student as well. Today, we are going to start off the Nakdhamma program. Let's get to know the brief history of the Dhamma program just a little bit, okay? Then we'll move on to the body of the lecture today. สมเด็จพระมหาสมณเจ้ากรมพระยาวชิรยานวชิระโนรสะ That's his name. He was born one of the children of the King Rama IV back then in around the 20th centuries. He ordained at the age of 20, and he was the very first generation of the children of the kings to study English language. So he was fluent in Pali, in Thai, and in English. And once he ordained, he studied the Buddhist text. He understands the teaching of the Buddha in depth, in detail, because he can read both in English and in Pali. And he realized that there was no a structure of the Buddhist study that available for the monk in this country, which is the land of Buddhism. So he has ambitions to come up with the new inventions to introduce the new Dhamma study systems to the Sangha, Thai Sangha back then. Initially just for the monk first, and later on it get developed and the program for the lay people as well. But start from the monks first, because back then to study Dhamma is more like a subjective. It's more like in the individual base. If this monk want to learn this, so he go find teacher and he learn how to practice meditation, and then he just meditate. There is no requirement for newly ordained monk to learn anything. Just you learn from your preceptor when the day that you ordain, that's all, which is not appropriate. So he see this and he come up with the idea to have the correct and the proper study education system for the monks. By put things together bit by bit, it become the Nakdhamma study curriculum later on, and it's gradually developed and adopted by Buddhist temple and school throughout Thailand. And this day it's become a mainstream. All the monks are, I don't want to say are forced, all the monks are recommended to take this exam, the Dhamma study exam, level 1, level 2, level 3. If someone want to pass the exam, that means that person need to study the material first. So they have to go to the class just like this and learn what we learn, but in Thai. This is the book, just something like this. Okay, if you can read Thai, there are many books like this available. It's called Nakdhamma, okay, in Thai. But in English, not many of them available. But today I will share with you two books, the book that we use in this throughout these curriculums. Okay, so then he come up with this program. Okay, to provide the proper structure curriculum for Buddhist study for the monks, and to ensure, make sure that the study is standardized. That means if someone ordained and become a monk in Thailand, every monk must go through the same educational system, so they know the same thing. They know the precept, they know the basic Dhamma, they know how to meditate, they know how to teach the Dhamma. The same body of language, the same body of knowledge. Every monk must go through and must learn. And then of course, to preserve and to promote the study of Theravada Buddhism in Thailand. Once we have the proper study system, then the monk can easily go through that structure. And if they complete all the way through, from beginner to advanced level, they have a certain set of knowledge, the certain understanding of the teaching of the Buddha. Not all. It doesn't mean if someone finished the advanced level, it doesn't mean they know all the teaching. No, I'm not saying that. I know they know pretty much the most important teaching of the Buddha. And he also composed the books called Navagovada or Navagovad. This book is also will be used, okay, in our curriculum as well. Yeah, you can download the books. Some of you may download it already. If not, I will resend it again to the live group tonight. Okay, the Navagovada. This is the instruction for the newly ordained monks and the Samanera, which means it will emphasize all the precepts, what monk can do, what monk cannot do. And on top of that, the book will cover the Dhamma subject as well, which again the lay people can study those Dhamma subject as well. Okay, and the second book that we use, this one. This is the curriculum Dhamma study for elementary level. it's the only Dhamma, Nakdhamma study in English that's somehow available for the moment. Okay, we have elementary and intermediate that get translated from the Thai version, something like this, to English version. The English version that we learn here, it's almost identical to the Thai version that used in the Thai Sangha educational system, but it can be applied for the lay people as well. That's why we will, in this Nakdhamma study that in English version, this program, the teacher will kind of select the Dhamma that's appropriate for the audience. Some may involve with the monastic life, monastic rules. Okay, some involved with the lay people, and that's how the instructor need to kind of fine tune the curriculums to fit all the students. Because in this class is quite special, we invite both monk and the lay people to join the same class. But ideally, the monk go for the Nakdhamma, this one. Study for the monk we call Nakdhamma. Study Dhamma for the lay people we call Dhamma Siksa. The difference is when monk go to the class, they can go ahead and go deep in terms of the Vinaya, what monk can do, what monk cannot do, which is nothing to do with the lay people. But for the lay people, you don't have to know all of that. What the rules of the monk, just like you learn the law, is quite boring because nothing to do with you. But that's why there are two separate programs for the lay people and for the monk. But in this program, we combine together. That's why you may know something about what monk can do, what monk cannot do. Okay, so just try to balance between those two groups of students, which is the monk and the lay people who sign up for this elementary level and intermediate level Nakdhamma study. So there are three levels: the Nakdhamma 3, level 1, Nakdhamma Tho, Nakdhamma Chan Tho intermediate, and Nakdhamma Chan Ek, the advanced level. There are three levels. So now you guys are here. Okay, please finish together 13 weeks and then move on to the second level and then move on to the third level. This is how all the teacher, this is how we encourage all the students, because you get benefit from learning all of this. Because I rarely see the lay people have time to study the Tipitaka, the teaching of the Buddha by themselves. But when you force yourself to be in the class like this, you automatically learn what the Buddha teach that kept in the Buddhist text. Someone just digests for you. You just pick it up and put into practice. If you want to know something deeper in each particular topic, then you can go deeper yourself. At least you get a chance to see what are those teachings that we as a new student supposed to know. And that's good starting point, right, in our Dhamma journey. So we'll be covering these 4 subjects: the history of the Buddha, including the Buddha disciple. If you go to the intermediate level, you will learn 80, the story of 80 great disciples of the Buddha. But in the elementary level, you learn, go deep in terms of the story of the Buddha himself. And you learn the Dhamma, you learn the Vinayas, the rules, the regulation, for monk and for the lay people, and of course you learn the Buddhist proverb, the teaching of the Buddha, which you just learned earlier before this class. So this project is called Buddhism Study in English or Nakdhamma for the general public and international students by Chiang Mai Sangha. So we have the first batch just finished, start January this year, just finished last month in May. And now we move on to the second batch, which is you guys, second semester, start yesterday, run all the way until November 2024. Okay, so please stick around, get yourself excited about this journey and enjoy the Dhamma study together. Okay, with that being said, now I want to move you guys to the subject, Dhamma subject that we're supposed to learn today. So we did touch on the story, history of the Nakdhamma, and these are the 4 subjects that we'll be covering today. We call the Dhamma Group 2. The Group 2 mean what? There are 2 of them in each group. Group 1 is called Sati Sampajanna, Group 2 is called Hiri Ottappa, Group 3 is called Khanti Soracca, Group 5 is called Pubbakari and Katannukatavedi. Don't be intimidated by the Pali terms, okay? Because you're gonna get to the English translation anyway. But it's nice to hear this word because it's the authentic word that used in the Buddhist text. Okay, these are the 4 subjects that we will be covering today. The first group is called the virtue of great assistance, the virtues of great assistance, Sati and Sampajanna. Sati is mindfulness, Sampajanna is the clear comprehension. The second group, the virtues that protect the world. Interesting. First, Hiri, the moral shame. Second, Ottappa, the moral fears. The third group is called the grateful Dhammas, which means if someone have this virtue, they become grateful. Khanti, or patience. Soracca, or gentleness. And number 4, the group 4 is called the rare person, which comprise the Pubbakari and Katannukatavedi. We get to know this Dhamma today. As I mentioned earlier, you may feel like, oh, Luang Pi, I already know all of this. It's simple. I know what Sati mean. I know what Sampajanna mean. I perhaps know Hiri Ottappa. I know how to be patient. I know, Pubbakari and Katannukatavedi. You may know all of that, which is good. I'm happy for you. Okay, and the idea of someone study Dhamma is we don't take the teaching of the Buddha lightly. We should reflect deeper, as deep as we can. We should not only that, we should find a way to connect the dot of the Dhamma that we learned, how they support each other, how they link to each other, which Dhamma that lead to that Dhamma. So that's let's go extra mile. In this 13 weeks journey, try to analyze what we learn, try to connect the dot from what we learn, try to relearn what we learn. And when it's come to the Dhamma in group like this, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, all the way, the idea is the Buddha did not just put everything together like this for no reason. It meant to be together. It's meant to practice together simultaneously. You cannot just select to practice one of these and neglect another one. That's not the idea of the Dhamma that teach in group like this. For example, the Sati, the mindfulness, and the Sampajanna. You cannot just, I'm just going to practice Sati. I'm not interested in practice Sampajanna. No, that's not the way of the Dhamma student to study the teaching of the Buddha. You must practice them together. Then you get benefit. If you don't practice them completely together, then you cannot get full benefit out of that group of Dhamma. Okay? Now, let's move on to, before we get to the each groups. If you look at this 4 group, this is, I call the basic Dhamma principle for a good man. We may not know a lot of Dhamma that the Buddha teach that kept in the Buddhist text. If you can behave yourself, develop all of this virtue, or if you can hang around with people who have this virtue, your life will be happy. They don't give you any trouble because they are mindful person. They have the sense of moral shame of doing something bad. They are patient person, have more understanding. They're not just easy to burst out, easy to react to the stimuli, something that they like or something that they don't like. But these people are mindful people. Just by having understand this principle and put them into practice, then your life is on your way, to be happy on a day-to-day basis, right? You may not know the Four Noble Truths at the moment. You may not know the law of karma at the moment, but you already practice them because you are mindful of what you're about to do, what you're about to say, and what you're about to think. That's the beauty of this simple Dhamma. Okay? Start from the first one, the virtue of great assistance. The Pali called the Pubbakari Katannukatavedi. Pahu means the great of service. So these 2 virtues support all the Dhamma. In other words, that's why it's called great assistance. You may think of assistance what, Luang Pi? Can you think of any Dhamma, anything in your life that you don't need to be mindful? Then you can finish, or you can be happy, you can be achieve those Dhamma practice easily without you being mindful? Can you observe precept without being mindful? Can you make donation without being mindful? Can you meditate without being mindful? Can you react to the negative stimuli without mindful? Can you name one thing that doesn't require you to be mindful? That's a food for thought for you to think about it. The Sati and the Sampajanna, it's something, to me, is something huge, something essential as a Dhamma student. If I were to choose one Dhamma among 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, if I were allowed to choose just one thing, and if I have that thing, I can be saved in the journey of, in my spiritual journey until I realize Nibbana, I would choose this one. I would choose Sati. Why? Think about it. Because if you are mindful of what you think, this wholesome or unwholesome, then what you're about to say and what you're about to do is automatically wholesome. Wholesome means you don't break precept. Wholesome means you don't hurt other feelings. Wholesome means there's no bad consequence come after you. It's going to be positive karma once you commit that action. That's the Sati. That's extremely important. Let me just show you real quick. Here, this is the position of Sati among the important Dhamma categories that you may find in the Buddhist text. You think of the Phala 5 or the faculty 5 in Si Phala or the Phala the 5 faculty and the 5 powers, the Noble Eightfold Path, the awakening, 7 awakening factors. You see Sati everywhere. The mindfulness here, the Noble Eightfold Path, number 7 is the right mindfulness. The awakening factor, number 1, start off with mindfulness. How can you neglect mindfulness? People only focus on concentration. Oh, I want to have good meditation. I want to have good meditation, but I never practice mindfulness and the clear comprehension. Then you cannot make progress in your meditation practice because you don't understand the relationship among all of these Dhamma. So Sati is everywhere. Sati support every Dhamma that you practice. That's why it's called the virtue of great assistance. The virtue of great assistance, Sati. Once you have Sati, then the next thing followed by default is Sampajanna. What is Sampajanna again? We get to the meaning in a moment. Sampajanna, that's another beauty Dhamma that everyone should understand and practice together. We get to the meaning in a moment, okay? So now I just want to emphasize that why the Buddha emphasized that these two virtues are considered the great assistance or Pubbakari Dhamma. Why they're so important? Why they appears in all of the main teaching of the Buddha. The Buddha in many occasions the Buddha teaches among my instruction to you is to be mindful and to have clear comprehension of everything that you're about to do and to say. In many cases, Buddha keep it simple. So if you don't know what mindfulness is, if you don't know what Sampajanna is, then we cannot following the teaching of the Buddha fully. So what is the problem of the world today? What is number one problem of the world today? This one. This review by the World Health Organization, the depression, stress and depression will be the number one global disability in 2030. It's already arrived. It's already here and now. All of us, monks or lay people, we are experiencing the depression, more or less. That's undeniable fact. It is something that we, whether we like it or not, we have this problem together. Even the kids nowadays, they have stress, they have depression. They go to school, they have to compete with their classmates. They want to be number one. Now, in UK, there are many mindfulness centers, and most of the teachers in UK are forced to enroll, to get certificate of how to teach their students to be mindful. They have to teach students how to be mindful in the class at a young age, which is not a good sign. When I was young, I don't even know what it is. I never worry about being mindful. I don't even know what is stress or depression, right? When we were young. But these days, it's become a serious issue, serious problem. that the teacher must know what are they dealing with, what are their students dealing with, and they need to find a way to help them. As we go through life, we face all kind of emotion. We don't know how to control the mind. When we have feelings, then thinking, positive, negative, come to the mind. The mind is bombarding with all kind of stimuli day in and day out. The moment we wake up until the time that we go back to bed. Morning happy, late morning get excited, afternoon upset, evening cry, at night laugh again. This is human. This is human. And how do we deal with that? The mind is bombarding with all kind of negativities. Social media, news, televisions. People are addicted to these kind of things. I myself, I stopped reading newspaper for, I don't know, maybe over 10 years. I don't need to know what's happening in the world. If something's going to be happening serious, if the world's going to collapse tomorrow, someone will inform me. I will be notified. Other than that, I don't need to know what's going on. So it doesn't benefit my meditation practice. It doesn't benefit my spiritualities, okay, as a Buddhist monk. And this is the problem of the world. Human being, we don't know how to deal with thought because we neglect to practice mindfulness. Maybe we don't even know what mindfulness is. That's why we don't know how to practice. And this is another important of sati. And that is why I mentioned earlier that if I were to choose one Dhamma, I will choose sati. So I can be safe. The Buddha confirmed that. Whatever stream means defilements. All kind of defilement, craving, ignorance, greed, hatred, delusion. Whatever stream there are in this world, mindfulness or sati is their prevention. That is the restraint of stream by wisdom or sampajanna. They are shut off. You see, these two things, they work together. But sati first, sampajanna follow. Mindfulness first, then clear comprehension follow. Not the other way around. If you cannot have mindfulness, you cannot have clear comprehension. That's it, period. They come after, they support each other like this. So what does it mean here? If you see, if there are defilements in this world in front of you, whatever they are, if you only have mindfulness, you are safe because mindfulness is the prevention, right? Because when you are mindful, you have a pause moment. You look at what it is. You give rise to the sampajanna to investigate what it is in front of me, why I feel crave for something, why I start to get agitated with something. And with ability to catch that feeling, it gives rise to sampajanna to analyze, to investigate, and perhaps neutralize those craving, neutralize those agitation out of the mind. So the mind can remain calm and then make a better decision. That's why they are shut off. The reason when someone says something bad and we say something bad to them because we lack of mindfulness. When we experience something we don't like, we react right away by instinct. We never use our mindfulness. We never use the intellectual faculties, which is sampajanna, to analyze of what is going on before we make that decision. Okay, so what's the meaning of sati or mindfulness? Usually, when we hear the word sati, in this world, people usually translate to the word mindfulness. And again, sometimes mindfulness is still confusing, still unclear. What is mindfulness anyway? We still need more explanation, right? What is mindfulness? What is meant by I am being mindful? But here is the meaning that explained in the Buddhist text, in the Abhidhamma. I want you to see it from your own eye, so you have confidence. Now you see it. Now you see it. This is appear in the Buddhist text. Whatever definition that people give in this world when it comes to mindfulness, and that's their definition. But this is the definition that appears in the Buddhist text. There's a difference. Constant mindfulness, recollection, the act of remembering, this one is good. Bearing in mind, non-forgetful, and the right mindfulness, this one is amazing. Recollection, you are able to recollect. The act of remembering, okay, we remember. If we remember something, that means we have sati, right? If you breathe in and breathe out, you use breathing meditation. You remember that I am using meditation technique of breathing So I'm going to observe my breathe in and breathe out. So you, as long as you remember what you do, you are mindful. And on top of this, the moment that your mind get distracted by thought, the moment that you know that the mind start to wandering out of your meditation object, you are mindful. You have ability to catch that your mind attention now is moved to something else, and that is mindfulness. Okay, people who are mindful usually don't forget things easily. And this one what I like, and this one to me is quite advanced, because Sati refer to the right mindfulness in the Noble Eightfold Path. In the Noble Eightfold Path, which we'll perhaps talk about it again in the topic of the Noble Eightfold Path. Okay, and here, how can one practice mindfulness that appear in Satipatthana? Is to live, to contemplate. We can develop mindfulness in 4 areas: through the body, through the feeling, through the mind, and through the mind object or the mental object. This you can find in detail in the sutra called Satipatthana Sutra, which is in the Majjhima Nikaya and the Tikha Nikaya. And feel free to check it out. Okay, this is the sutra that the Buddha explained in detail of how someone can develop mindfulness. Okay, for example, this one, you can visualizing your breath. You know that you breathe in, breathe out. You know that you breathe in short or breathe in long. You know when you breathe in short, how do you feel? You know when you breathe out short, how do you feel? You know that you walk left, you walk left and right, right and left. You know that you stop. You know that you stand. You know that you sit. You know that you lie down. So you know fully of what you do. You know where your mind is. Okay, feeling. You know how you feel. Happy, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. The mind, you know whether the mind have lust or not. The mind crave for something or not. The mind get agitated or not. Something like this. And the mental object. This is the quite advanced. Now we develop the advanced level of mindfulness to observe the mental phenomena. What's going on in the mind? Why the mind pick up this kind of lustful stimuli? And what about the 5 hindrances? Where did they come from? How do they arrive and how do they cease? Or what about the 5 aggregate? Something like this. This is another. There are many layers of mindfulness that one can practice. Okay, and the second is Sampajanna. What is Sampajanna? Again, this definition comes from the Buddhist text. That's something Luang Pi want you to at least, see it by yourself. That is wisdom, understanding, investigation, the research, the truth, investigation, discernment, differentiation, the erudition, the proficiency, the subtlety, the analysis, the consideration, the guidance, the insight, the awareness, the controlling faculty of wisdom, the absence of dullness, the truth, investigation, and the right view. So right view is the first factor in the Noble Eightfold Path. Right view is panya, right? Wisdom. So Sampajanna has something to do with right view. Has something to do with wisdom. Here you can pick up any word that makes sense to you when it's time for you to put this word or this Dhamma into practice. It's about you be able to investigate of what's going on. And once you investigate, you understand what it is. Right? You analyze it, you consider it, you are aware of what's going on. The Buddha gave a simple explanation he gave many teaching, but in some case, just keep it simple. How one can practice Sampajanna? Okay, when you walk forward and walk backward, okay, you looking toward and you looking away. You extending and you bending and extending your limbs, your arms. So he used a very simple example when he explained to the monk how can you practice Sampajanna. Basically, 100% of your body movements, going back, going forward, turn left or turn right, reaching out or bring the hand back, something like this. So there are many ways that monks can practice Sampajanna. But again, Sampajanna comes after you being mindful. You must know, you remember, I am going to walk from point A to point B. And investigation, see how far does it take, how long does it take, and how can I get there. That's how the Sampajanna and the Sati working together. So this picture may help us to understand a little bit better. The Sati or mindfulness, Sampajanna, you can use this term, the comprehension or the awareness, any term that you feel easy and comfortable to use. You think of if you want to study the bird, as long as the bird still flying out there, you cannot study that bird. You may know it's a bird, but you don't know what kind of bird, what size, what color, how it look like. Unless you catch the bird into the cage, now you can investigate the bird. Okay, Sati is like catch. Sampajanna is the eye to investigate what's in that cage. Now you can study the bird. If your mind is crave for something badly, you catch. Once you are mindful, you can catch that feeling and allow the Sampajanna to investigate why you want this one, why you crave for this one, why you unable to be happy without having that one. So take your time to investigate what's going on. Then you will see the better solution. Another example would be, by look at this, you can tell which one is Sati, which one is Sampajanna, and which one is Samadhi by using this simile or this example. If a man were to hit the nail, right, he must be mindful that, remember that I am going to hit the nail, not cooking, not thinking, not talking. Put down the phone, I'm going to be hitting the nails. My job is to hit the nail. This is the task in front of me. So I am with this 100%, nothing else. Okay, so as he grab the nail, as he hold the hammers, so he must calculate what angle should I hold the nail, what angle should I hold the hammer, and how many times should I hit the nail. And that is Sampajanna. And as he start hitting the nail, the first time, the second time, he noticed that he may need to hit harder, or change the angle of the hammer, or change the angle of the nail. So he stopped, he adjusts, and that's Sampajanna. Investigate, this is not the right way of doing this, so let me change, let me adjust. So Sampajanna start function. Sati is there. And as he confident that, okay, this is the right angle, I'm going to hit for 10 more times, from that moment onward, he just keep on hitting until the nail completely penetrate to the wood, and that's called Samadhi or meditation. You see the difference? So your job is to understand what they are and how can they support each other. Okay, doing this is bad. The person not being mindful. Okay, these days people, when they eat, they either check email, listen to the music, or watching television while eating. They don't even know what's in their mouth. They don't even know what's in their mouth, and we habituate the mind to be distracted. This is not good. That's why you don't have a good meditation. You don't do one thing at a time. You do 100 things at a time. When you cook, you check email, you listen to a music. Sometimes you sing, sometimes you dance. You don't even know what should be the right amount of the ingredient you put in that cooking. Okay, and it's dangerous. Okay, you may hurt yourself. This is how you can apply Sati and Sampajanna in your daily life. Simple. When before you clean things, you let go everything. You remind yourself that I am going to clean my house. I am going to clean the toilet. I am going to clean the bookshelf. So what kind of clothes should I use? What kind of detergent should I use? And how many times should I spend on doing this? This is Sampajanna. So you are mindful of what you do 100%. The job will get done nicely, effectively, with your mind, without your mind being distracted to something else. That's how the monk do the show. We do one thing at a time, and we stay focused until we get the job done. Okay, so it's simple like this. When you can do this on a simple mundane chore at home, when you go meditate, your Sati is going to be the next level. Now you can observe your feeling. Observe feeling is more difficult than observe the body movement, right? Observe the clothes that you use, observe the detergent that you use. But you have mastered that on a day-to-day basis. Now you go meditate, you're going to observe something more refined, like, oh, feeling arise, I don't like it. Now you can catch, when you can catch that feeling, you can investigate that feeling, and then you can neutralize that feeling. That's how you can make progress in your meditation practice. In summary, Sati is remembering, right? Know what you do. Remembering yourself before or while doing something. And Sampajanna is fully understand, okay, fully aware of you are doing something, okay, how to do it correctly. That's general ideas. Okay, this is the two virtue that consider the virtue of great assistance. Now we move on to the next one. Okay, the Dhamma that protect the world, or Loka Pala Dhamma. Dhamma that protect the world. Interesting. The Buddha, among all of the Dhamma, the Buddha picked two things. If someone have these two things, that person protect the world. And when you hear the word world in Buddhism, the first meaning is yourself as a one world. These five aggregate. Yourself is one world, your friend is another world. Or it can mean the world, the physical world, the world at large, this physical world. Okay, so if one protect oneself, one protect the whole world. That's another teaching. That means if you protect yourself, if you observe precept, you will be safe from all the bad things. And at the same time, wherever you go, people will be safe by having you around, because you protect yourself already. That's the idea. But today, we're going to add on to something more than that. The Buddha talked about Hiri and Ottappa, what they are. How can they protect the world? How can they protect us, which is individual being, and how can they protect everyone in this world, in this physical world? Okay. Hiri mean what? Hiri is a Pali term, translate to many terms in English, okay, like consign, like the moral shame, the moral, I'm sorry, let's stick with two of these, otherwise it's going to be a lot of vocabularies. You may come across some other term later on, okay, but I just want to know, want you to know what it is, okay. So Hiri is the feeling of shameful, of wrongdoing, both in private and in public. It's a feeling. It's start from self-concern. It's driven by internal factor, by yourself. You don't want to do this bad thing because I am a good person. You feel shameful of doing bad. Okay, and it helps strengthen the sila or the precept. When someone have Hiri and Ottappa, this person will not break precept. He may not know 5 precept, 8 precept, 10 precept, but he will feel bad of doing these bad things. That's the idea of Hiri. To feel shameful, whether in public or in private, whether someone say it or not, you will not do it because I know this is bad and I will not do it. My father and my mother raised me to be a good person, born in a good family. I cannot steal someone's stuff. I cannot cheat on my spouse. I cannot lie to my employee. I cannot lie to my customer. I feel bad because I am a good person. It's come from these internal factors. That's the idea of Hiri. The text used the example of, a person cannot leave the house naked. You feel shameful. You feel very bad. I cannot leave the house naked. It's not me. It's bad. So this bad thing, I just cannot do it. It's impossible for a man like me to steal someone's stuff. That's the idea of Hiri. It's come from yourself. Value yourself. Then you will not do it. Whether someone see it or not, it doesn't matter. What about Ottappa? Ottappa can be translated to the fear of wrongdoings, the moral dread, the concern, the scruple, whatever it is that you feel related to. The Ottappa is the fear of consequence of wrongdoing, but it's driven by concerning other. It doesn't drive by concerning yourself. They are different, but they support each other. You must have both of them develop together, not just pick one of them. So here it means you don't do bad because you feel shameful. I cannot do this. I'm a good person. You value yourself. That's why you don't do the bad thing. But Ottappa is opposite. The reason you don't do the bad thing because you fear of its consequence. You fear what people think. You fear what the law think. You fear what the law said. If there is no law, if there is no laws mentioned about if someone stealing someone's stuff, you don't get punishment. You don't have to go to jail. The people may start to steal someone's stuff because there's no such law said. If you steal someone's stuff, you go to jail. Right? If we remove this law, then the world will be in trouble. People will start go around and take someone's stuff freely because they don't have Ottappa. But a man with Ottappa, okay, he will fear of the consequence. Even there is no state law mentioned that. He aware of the law of karma. If I kill someone, if I steal someone, that action, negative action, will come back and keep on hunting me for a very long time. I cannot run away from my own action. That's Ottappa, fear of even the law of karma. So both go together. So the text used the example of the snake. If someone tell you that, you know what, there is or there are a poison snake over there, don't go that direction. They are over there. Then you don't go. The reason you don't go over there because you know the snake over there. You may get bitten by them and you may die. This is Ottappa. You fear. You fear. I don't do bad because I fear. I fear of the consequence. I fear of the law of karma. I fear of people will look, misunderstanding me. I will lose my credibility, right? If you don't cheat on your customer because you fear that you're gonna lose your credibility, this is Ottappa. But if you don't cheat on your customer because you know it's a wrong thing, and that's Hiri. They are different. You must understand their differences. So Hiri, sometimes the different example used in the text just like this. Hiri is, you know that this is dirty stuff. The stone is dirty. If you touch on this stone, your hand will get dirty. Then you don't touch it because you don't want to be dirty. But the Ottappa is like this. There is the hot burning charcoal. If you touch it, it's going to burn your hand. So you don't touch it because you fear that when you touch it, your hand will get burned. You fear of the consequence. But the first one is you fear, you don't touch it because I don't want to get dirty. I'm a good person. I don't want to get involved with those bad stuff. Okay, that's the difference. So my question to you is, okay, 1 second. Okay, my question to you is, which one is more important and why between Hiri and Ottappa? That's the food for thought. We'll get to the answer at the end. Okay, why, which one is important? Okay, we move on to the third one. We almost finished. The grateful Dhamma or... Okay, so please let Luang Pi to continue first. Then there will be time at the end for the question. Okay. Okay, I think something with the camera. Okay, as long as you can see the screen, it's okay. The grateful Dhamma or the Sopana Dhamma. There are two items on the list, which is Khanti and Soracca. You know what Khanti is, right? Khanti is what? Khanti is patient. Khanti is patient. We get to the meaning in just a second. But in one teaching, this is something that Luang Pi kind of, the more we study the teaching of the Buddha, the more we appreciate. The Buddha said, when a person is irritable, overcome and overwhelmed by anger, he does bad things by way of body, speech and mind, and when his body breaks up after death, he reborn in a place of loss, bad place, the underworld, the hell. That's why we need to develop the Khanti and Soracca. Don't let the mind be bothered by those negativity that you like. Something that you like, something that you don't like, they always come with something called the tanha that cause us suffering. So Khanti is patience, forbearance, endurance, tolerance. There are many terms that use. But let's take a look at the actual characteristic of Khanti. There are at least 3 things. First, Khanti is opposite to non-anger, or Pali called dosa. The absence of rudeness, completely, 100%. Yeah, non-anger. And the second characteristic is the ability to remain neutral when you are facing something that you don't like. And the third one is accompanied by metta. this is a little bit more difficult. Not just we don't get bothered by those negativities, not just we are able to remain neutral, but we add on extra step to develop loving kindness to those people who are harming us, who are about to, giving us problem. That's the characteristic of Khanti, which we may not realize that there are 3 layers at least. In Thailand, we call Otthon. Khanti is Pali, right? Translate to patient. In Thailand, we call Otthon, and I really like this term. I don't know who created, but it's come with a complete meaning of the word Khanti. Ot mean what you don't get what you want, then you ot. Thon mean you get what you don't want. There are 2 things. When you don't get what you want, what do? You develop Khanti. When you get what you don't want, what do? You develop Khanti. You remain calm. You remain neutral. You remain unagitated. As a monk, we are told that, if you expect cold food, you get hot food. If you expect hot food, you get cold food. When you go arms round in the morning to the village, you cannot expect anything. You have no idea what people are going to give into your bowl. And when someone gives you the food that you don't like, what do? You don't get what you want. You ot. You don't get what you want. You remain calm. You don't get agitated. You don't start complaining, oh, please don't give me pizza, I want fried rice. We cannot say that. As a monk, we cannot say that. You get what you receive and you appreciate it. You develop the kind mind, loving kindness toward the people, the villager who give you food. They make an effort to wake up early to give you food. And now you get mad, you get cranky of the food that you don't like. And that is not Otthon. That is not Otthon at all. Okay, so there are 2 dimensions. You don't get what you want. This is life. We don't always get what we want. That's why we need to be patient. And sometimes we get what we don't want to. Then what we can do? And we have to be patient. There are 4 types of patience. Patient with nature, like hot and cold, rain and snow. Have to be patient. Patient with illness, headache, stomach aches. I don't want to go to work. You be patient. Hang in there. Today is, I have a little bit headache, so let me skip meditation class. Let me just, do something else. That means you don't have enough patience to continue to do your thing as you're supposed to do. And then patience to live with others, because, people in this world, many people don't observe precept. People neglect to be mindful. People are so sometimes very harsh to each other, sometimes very violence. So we need to be patient with living with others, and patient with defilements. Okay, patient with defilements. Craving for something. Women go to the mall. There's always something that you want to buy, even though you don't need them. You have to be patient, right? People keep on buying stuff because I like it. I deserve it. You find a reason for you to have that thing, even though you know that you don't need it. There may be some stuff in your closet that you haven't used for 6 months, but you still have more room for new items to come to your home, right? That's the defilements. This is more difficult. Something you like, something you don't like. Okay. So patient like the earth. This is one of the examples that the Buddha used. Okay. The earth doesn't care whether someone throws something hot, something cold, something smell good, something smell bad, something dirty, something clean. The earth doesn't care. It just remain calm. Just remain neutral. That's at least what you can do is remain calm. Don't react when you're in a bad mood. Do not react by the first instinct. You will end up being upset later. If you are mindful, take a good deep breath, take a few moments, and then make decision. And the second one is called Soracca. Soracca is gentleness, modesty, and restraint. Okay? Restraint of the body and speech, and restraint and joyous mind. I think look at the example help us to understand much better. This is Khanti. This is Soracca. Khanti is, when you face with the situation that you don't like, you remain calm, right? You develop the unagitated mind. Try to understand the person or the situation. Develop loving kindness. Listen to them. That's Khanti. But Soracca, I think of my mother. My mom was ill. She has liver cancer. She was very in pain. And every time I visit her, she always smile at me. She said, son, I'm okay. Don't worry about me. I know she has so much pain in her body. Not only she can remain calm, but she developed the peaceful mind, the joyous mind. In that painful situation, in that fatal disease, mom can still smile. Mom can still cheer everyone up. Someone visit her, say, you know what? I'm okay. I'm fine. Always remain calm. This is Soracca. Don't just, some people have a little bit of headache but make it big, right? That's not Soracca. Make it big. You need to see the doctor, need to x-ray, needs to do this, needs to do that, but it's just a little headache. That is not Soracca. Okay? Soracca and Khanti go together. Alright, so how can we cultivate Khanti? You can start to develop how to share loving kindness to yourself, and to others around you. Develop Hiri Ottappa. Feel shameful of doing bad and feel fear of the consequence of doing the bad thing. If you don't have patience, you may start breaking precept. And be mindful of what you do. And because of mindfulness, then you can direct your mind towards some wholesome thought. Every time the unwholesome thought come into your mind. Okay? And this is another one that I like. In the midst of the life storm, one can be in perfect peace. Can be in perfect peace, just like the bird. Just sit there and take care of its eggs, even though there's a big storm that's coming toward them. They just remain calm. Okay, now we go to the last one, the rare person. There are two things that the Buddha mentioned here. First, he called Pubbakari. Second, he called Katannukatavedi. Pubbakari is the one who is first do a favor, someone who do good first. And Katannukatavedi come with two things. Is the one who is grateful and have intention to repay back that favor that people done for them. The two things. And this is what the Buddha mentioned long time ago. He said, Bhikkhu, this is how you should train yourself. We will be grateful and show gratitude. We won't forget even a small thing that done for us. This is the beauty of the teaching of the Buddha. If someone do good with you, just a little bit thing, you don't forget, find way to repay them. The lay people may give you just a sticky rice, just simple vegetable that they can find, nothing fancy. You develop your mind to be gratitude, okay? To appreciate what you receive and find way to perhaps, pay back to them. Pubbakari, the doer, who support first, someone who support you first. You think of your parents. When we were born, we cannot take care of ourselves. Without parents, without relatives, we may not survive. They take care of us first. The question is, do we aware of that? Do we feel obligated to repay them back? These days, I don't know. Things have changed. People neglect their parents. When their parents get old, especially in the West, they just put their parents into the nursing home. They enjoy their life in the cities, and once occasionally they visit them until the mom and dad die at the nursing homes. And it's quite sad to see this phenomenon happening in these 21st centuries. So the one who do the support first, the one who is first do the kindness to us, that one is called the Pubbakari. We get to know how many kind of people that consider Pubbakari in a moment, okay? But you think of someone who do good thing to you first. So we owe something back to them in a way. Katannukatavedi, the grateful and the appreciative. You recognize the goodness that people done to you, the help given by anyone, whether little or much. Grateful for that. Recognize that. And the one who is grateful for a kindness done and feel obligated, this is the second keyword, to repay. You recognize, that's number one, and you feel obligated to repay. That's the second qualities. So when you practice both. You don't just practice, oh, I recognize that my mom is good to me, but I don't feel obligated to pay back to her. My teacher is good to me, but I don't feel obligated to do good for him. That's called selfish. Buddha did not teach us to be selfish. He teach us to be selfless, to be kind, to recognize the good thing that other done for us, even a little bit things. Okay? So you must practice both of them, okay, together. Not just pick one of these. Many people in this world, we recognize that, parents are good for us, teachers are good for us, Buddha are good for us, but sometimes we feel neglect to find way to repay them back. How can we repay back our parents? How can we repay back to our teacher? How can we repay back to our great teacher like the Buddha? Okay, think about it. There are 4 groups that consider rare persons. First, our parents, between relationship between parent and children. Second, the teacher and the student. The third is the king and the citizens. And number 4, the Buddha and our faithful followers, monks, bhikkhu, bhikkhuni, male and female followers. These are the 4 groups of the rare person. Okay, just keep in mind and reflect on this. So in short, this is what we learned today. We learned 4 virtues. The virtue that consider great assistance, Sati Sampajanna. The virtue that protect the world, Hiri and Ottappa. The virtue that consider grateful Dhamma is called Khanti and Soracca. And the rare person, the Pubbakari and the Katannukatavedi. So we will review together before we finish. This is a review question. It might be on the exam. Why Hiri Ottappa are considered the Dhamma that protecting the world? And back to the first question, right? Which one is more important between Hiri and Ottappa, in your opinions? You think about it. I believe I already gave the answer, right? Hiri Ottappa consider the Dhamma that protect the world because they are virtue that cause individual, okay, to abhor and fear sinful misconduct, making them unwilling to do bad, both in private and in public. So whether someone know it or not, it doesn't matter. You will not do bad. That's the Hiri and Ottappa. And what are the Dhamma that of great benefit, or the Pahukaraka Dhamma? Why are they considered to be of great benefit? Now we're talking about Sati and Sampajanna, right? The great assistance. When you hear the word assistance or the great benefit, you think of Sati and Sampajanna. The exam usually asks like this: What consider the Dhamma of great benefit? What consider Loka Dhamma? What consider Dhamma that protect the world? You should automatically know them right away by heart. Dhamma that protect the world, oh, Hiri Ottappa. Dhamma of great assistance, oh, Sati and Sampajanna. Dhamma that grateful Dhamma make someone beautiful, oh, it's Khanti Soracca. You should know right away. And then you go to the definition. Okay, the Dhamma, this is Sati and Sampajanna, is considered Dhamma of great benefit. And why? Because they are considered to be great benefit because they make one diligent in any task or activity and support the arising of other virtuous qualities. There are many ways to answer this question, but you need to know what it is and how they support each others. Okay. In the worldly view, people's beauty is just by their physical appearance, right? The clothes that they wear, their characteristic, their features. But in Buddhism, where is the beauty? Just. Now you think of what make people beauty, right? Gentleness. You think of Sobhana Dhamma. I'm sorry, you think of the, Sobhana Dhamma. In Buddhism, not just people by the appearance, the outfit that they wear, the hairstyle that they have. No. People consider beauty because of this Khanti and this Soracca. When people have developed this, they consider a grateful person. they consider a beauty or handsome person, because they can remain calm, they might still remain joy in the situation that might not be pleasant. And the last one, what are considered Pubbakari and Katannukatavedi, so you should know them by heart. Please go back and review what we learned today. Pubbakari, what is Pubbakari? Oh, people who do the good thing first. And what is Katannukatavedi? You think of recognizing, you think of the obligation to repay them back. So this is something that I like you to be able to understand and be able to connect the dot, okay, and have them, not only have them memorized somewhere in the back of your brain, but make sure you put them into practice. Okay? So with that, we're done for today. We'll pay respect to the triple gem and then we take a break.